The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is David Bush. I'm excited to be here with you tonight on the Habits of Health webinar on the topic, Habits of Motion. I'm excited to share some principles with you. Tonight's presentation is designed for anyone that is looking to create more optimal health and well-being in their life. Some of you that are here have just started our health program. Some of you may just be exploring our health program, or you may be a health coach or a health professional. And we're excited that you're here because what we're going to talk about tonight is going to be applicable to everyone. Everyone can take away something from tonight. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to uncover some of the secrets to adopting the habits of healthy motion and movement or exercise. And we're going to give you specific tips to help you to burn more calories, which helps you to accelerate your weight loss journey, or it helps you to maintain your healthy body weight and optimize your health. We're also going to share some inspiring transformation stories of people just like you from all different walks of life all around the country that are experiencing the benefits of healthy motion. And they're going to share with you some of the strategies that they've used from Dr. Ray's Habits of Health book. I started this health coaching program 10 years ago. I'm pictured here on the left. I lost 100 pounds on the program. And while those results may not be typical for everybody, they were my results. And I was so excited about the health program that I began to work with others and encouraging them to join me in this idea of getting healthier. I grew up with a story where I didn't have optimal health. I didn't even really have health. I was always a big football player, and I actually went on to play professional football. So I had a lot of experience with exercise and strength and conditioning. But what I didn't necessarily know is that the game would change. I would actually get done playing professional football and my life would change in terms of my motivation and my desires. Because I exercised because I was in competition. I had motivation, I had accountability, and I had encouragement. But once the game was over and there was no longer the competition or the celebration of winning, I fell into what I call the river of ordinary health. I just became complacent. And maybe that's where you're at tonight. Maybe you're at a place where you're just gotten a little bit complacent with the idea of exercise. And maybe because the nutritional program that you're following with OPTAVIA works so good without rigorous exercise that you have not embraced the idea of optimizing your health. It's okay. I was there as well. But inside of the health coaching program, my health coach awakened me to the idea of how I could incorporate more activity into my life and still have an amazing success story. I didn't have to do some of the things that I thought was exercise to get results. And neither did these other people that are on this panelist tonight with the webinar. They're going to share their own personal stories of how they've incorporated more movement and activity into their life. And some of them even rigorous exercise because it's what they're enthusiastic about. But they weren't enthusiastic about it many months ago when they first started the program. So sit back and enjoy the webinar. We'd love for you to contribute and send some messages on the chat feature if you really had a great takeaway or if something really spoke to you. Share that because this experience allows us to share our thoughts and our feelings and our takeaways, and we can learn from each other on how to incorporate the habits of health into our life. This is recorded. If you haven't had a chance to find the playlist on YouTube for the Habits of Health webinar recordings, I strongly encourage you to get that information from your health coach. That information is something that is updated on a regular basis, and these webinar recordings are usually available 48 to 72 hours after they are completed. And those are really good resources to go back and listen to over and over and over again. The Habits of Health book and workbook and all the resources on optavia.com are all great resources to continue to renew your mind on how to create health in your life. Most of us never really got that concept when we were growing up. We didn't get a chance to go to Optimal Health 101 or Optimal Health 202 class in high school or grammar school. So we're having to learn this on the job training, so to speak. And tonight we're going to get a chance to really share some great on the job, in your life type of experiences. But before we jump in, would you mind joining me in the chat feature and sharing with us a little bit about how you're doing with your healthy motion habits? If you're doing really good, put in a number 1. If you're getting exercise in, you're enjoying an active and full life, put a 1 in there. If you're not doing so good or you have some room for improvement, put a number 2. And if you're really struggling, would you mind just sharing with us that you're struggling? Because it's okay. We were all at a point where we were struggling with something. And so put a number 3 in there if you're struggling to incorporate more activity into your life. And we would love to really speak to each of the people that are here today. You know, sometimes it's hard to accept where we are in this whole journey towards optimal health. We think that we should be farther along or we should be doing more. But in reality, we don't want to be shooting all over ourselves. We want to really focus on the idea of each one of us is on our own journey. We don't want to compare ourselves to the other flowers in the garden. We just want to bloom and get healthier. So if you're at a 3 today, let's move you to a 2. And if you're at a 2 and you want to be a 1, let's move you to a 1. And if you're already at a 1, let's see how we can increase your health and optimize your life by having more fun with activity and exercise. Tonight we're going to talk about the benefits and barriers of healthy motion. We're going to talk about the NEAT and EAT principles, which are in chapters 14 through 16 of the Habits of Health. And we're going to share some helpful tips on how you can get moving so that you can get all of the benefits of healthy exercise and motion. Let's jump in. How many of you know all of the benefits of exercise? When you begin to review this list, do you see anything on there that you didn't already know? Most of us know that there are benefits to exercise. And most of us, and I could probably speak for all of us, most of us at some point have said, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. Have you ever said that before? I know I've said it many times before, but what I've learned is we don't know what we don't know. And whatever is out of sight is out of mind. Sometimes we need to come back and review the reasons of why to exercise so that we do the things that we do not want to do or we do not feel like we have the time to do. And so having a good reason to move your body is going to be the number 1 takeaway I want you to leave with tonight, because that was my big takeaway is I didn't have enough reasons of why to do exercise and activity. And once I learned why, it all worked itself out. The how became a whole lot easier when I knew why to do it. Here's some of the information from Dr. A's Habits of Health on page 168. These numbers are staggering. 60% of Americans don't exercise for more than 10 minutes a day. 25% of Americans are considered to be sedentary, and 50% of Americans who start an exercise program quit in less than 6 months. We're going to talk to a fitness center owner that actually deals with people in the fitness business that actually understands these numbers at a whole different level. 90% of the exercise equipment that's purchased goes unused in less than 1 year. I don't know if you've ever had anything in your basement or inside your house that became a really good coat rack and it only cost you about $1,000 to have it. I know I've had a little bit of that. I had a whole room dedicated to exercise equipment that I wasn't using. And here were some of the excuses or the barriers that I gave. I didn't have enough time. I didn't know exactly what to do to get me the results that I wanted. I didn't have the right support system. I didn't have an accountability partner, or I didn't have the motivation to do it. I didn't have the energy. I was tired. I had 3 small kids, and it was taking me a lot of time to just raise those kids and do what I needed to do for work, and I just lacked the energy. And then at some point, I would say that it cost too much. I didn't want to buy the membership that I wasn't using. Have you ever said any of these things to yourself? I'd love to see some comments in the chat feature just to be honest about what are those barriers that are something that you're really struggling with right now. If you wouldn't mind, just go into the chat feature and identify what are some of the barriers that you have struggled with in terms of doing more with activity and exercise. I'll show them to you in the previous screen one more time. Which are these barriers? Time, lack of knowledge, lack of support, lack of motivation or energy, or the cost has really cost you the idea of improving and advancing your musculoskeletal health and your cardiovascular health, and just your idea of doing more with your body and what you could do with your muscles. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you commenting. And if you're watching a recording of this, we'd love to see your comments online as well. So let's talk about non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's a real fancy word for just saying move your body. It's all about the idea of doing more activity in the 16 hours a day that we're awake. And to bring you into this moment of understanding, I thought it would be great to bring on a physician who's also one of our superstar certified OPTAVIA coaches. Her name is Dr. Sharon Fleischer, and I've had a great opportunity to work with her. And I'm going to have her share a little bit about her story and about incorporating non-exercise activity. Sharon?
Hi, David. Thanks so much. This is such an honor, and I'm ecstatic to watch actually this flow of comments in the chat. I don't think I can keep up with all of them. I'm a family physician of 20 years now, and it was actually a patient of mine who worked with David as his health coach, who lost 140 pounds in 9 months and didn't do it once with exercise. And I was mesmerized. I knew I needed to do something. I was somewhat fit. I had tried running as a bucket list item, a marathon, which quickly turned into a half marathon. And I kind of talk about exercise and nutrition all the time, but people weren't doing it because I didn't have all of the information I wanted to give them, let alone the time. And I had, like David has, 3 children and a marriage and worked full time. And I didn't do what I was telling all my patients to do. It was through OPTAVIA and becoming a client to experience it because I wanted to help my patients. I wanted to experience it for myself, that I started really seeing the value of these NEAT exercises. So I'm kind of really excited to tell you a little bit about what NEAT means. And it is very neat because it's very simple. NEAT implies that you're just physically moving your body during the day. And you can actually burn up to 200 calories more every day by doing these simple exercises. You don't have to buy membership to a gym. You don't have to wait for the bad weather to pass. You can do this at any point. And so what I like about the system that Dr. A created for us is that it is very step by step. You're going to see here a list of 6 things that we have people do. And the goals of all of these activities, not only does it allow you to have 200 calories more burned, which as you go through transition, allows you to eat a few more calories than you would in your first phase of your weight loss. But it also gives you better flexibility, more mobility, better strength, and gets us ready for what you're going to hear about, which is the EAT exercises, or your typical exercises that you learn about. All of these activities, they've actually done studies that you can see here on the screen, burn more calories than just sitting. And so if you just stand, you're actually using more core muscles and you're holding your body weight up. So even if you struggle with weight, you can hold yourself up in a standing position and burn more calories. In fact, the heavier you are, you burn more because it takes more effort for you to do that. But that's all we're going to ask you to do is to stand for an extra 5 minutes a day. Going for a walk, even if it's just for 1,000 steps or 2,000 steps, is going to be something that's going to continue to burn more calories. And in Dr. A's Habits of Health book, there's actually a page that you can track each step every day. Taking the stairs, parking farther away, knowing that if you did a little bit extra movement, whether it's swinging your arms around, whether it's dancing. I mean, when I'm home alone and I can clean up, I throw on my favorite music, I don't stop moving. Music does that for us. So if you're not sure what you should do, throw on some headphones, play your favorite music, and just dance like nobody's watching, okay? Switch implies that you're doing things that otherwise technology and automated things have allowed us to do easier, like throwing dishes in the dishwasher. Don't bother. Why don't you do it the old-fashioned way? Get your hands wet, move around. Raking leaves, pushing shoveling snow that we've had a lot of this year, as opposed to using, the automatic snow blowers. So standing up, holding your core, sitting up straight, bringing your shoulders back, walking, dancing, switching it up and doing more manual things. Nowadays we have remote controls that you have to speak into to change the channel. I mean, how much more lazy can we get? Get up and change the channel. Purposely put things farther away. The more you do these little things every day, the more you're going to be able to prepare yourself for your EAT activities, which is the things that I think someone else will be talking about this evening.
That's great. Thanks, Sharon. And, this is one of those things that really challenged me from a mental perspective, because I thought I knew what exercise was, and that was going to a fitness facility. But what I really learned is that I could actually just take some small little steps towards living a healthier lifestyle, and that would burn those extra calories that I wanted to consume after I transitioned off of the weight loss program. And it also helped me to accelerate my journey through the weight loss phase, because I was burning more calories throughout the entire process. And so to bring on our next guest, I'd love to introduce you all to Mark Blankenspore. Mark is a physical therapist. He's also one of our certified OPTAVIA coaches, and he was also an owner of a fitness center. And so if there was anybody that would know about having fitness equipment and using it, Mark would be the guy. Mark, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, I appreciate being on here tonight. Dave's transformation 10 years ago was life-changing for me. Dave was a member at my fitness center, and I saw his transformation. Early on, I saw him coming into the gym 3, 4, 5 times per week, and I thought it was all about the exercise. The exercise is a core component, but I saw also that it was the other healthy habits that he was integrating. I was very interested in what Dave was doing in the gym and outside of the gym, because for myself, I was the picture on the left side. I was the guy that was 50 pounds overweight, the gym owner that was not the best billboard for the gym. So I stepped into the program myself about 9 years ago and experienced healthy habits, experienced the fuelings and the other healthy components that went with the program. I lost the 50 pounds, and I was tickled because I saw the benefit of what that could offer to the folks coming through our gym, coming through our rehab clinics, and people throughout our community. So that transformation right there gave me even more passion to talk about what people can do to integrate motion and activity with the other habits that we incorporate. The coaching, as you see here, well, I'll tell you what, that's quite a picture, isn't it? That is not me. That is somebody else. So I could not even probably even dream to be that, but that's quite an example. What I will tell you is weight training, resistance training is going to be a great thing in the midst of our overall activity program. Now, I'll tell you what, you don't have to lift 200 pounds or 400 pounds. You don't have to be a CrossFitter, but find something that you can do 2 to 3 days a week that's giving you some resistance training. I'm not a young guy anymore. I'm past the age of the prime, where we look at prime being somewhere between age 25 and 30. Those of us that are beyond that stage can still benefit from incorporating resistance training. It's something that's going to continue to benefit us from a musculoskeletal, from an orthopedic standpoint, and it's going to burn the calories like you've heard already here tonight. What are you doing for an exercise program? Are you scaling up? Are you increasing or at least optimizing what you can be doing on a daily basis? Walking, brisk walking. If you're not a runner, do what you can even with walking to add in those steps and burn the calories. Set a plan, work a plan, connect with the tools and the programming that we have through OPTAVIA to identify what your exercise, your motion can look like. And then look at the frequency or change up your activities. Make it somewhat exciting. Don't do the same boring thing that maybe has gotten you bored in the past. Pick an activity that you enjoy. I enjoy playing tennis. I enjoy doing some other things also. I enjoy playing pickleball, which is a good activity. Try something new, change your routine. If you have a friend or a couple different friends that you can also get together with to exercise, that's a great component for accountability and engagement. Use your exercise to vent. I was talking to one of my clients today who's dealing with some significant family issues. And as we can exercise, that does help us to de-stress. And then look at the intensity. Our perceived exertion is something that helps us reference what's appropriate for us. Most of us are probably going to be in that range between a 3 and a 5, where we're comfortable and sweating, but not too uncomfortable. So think about that even for yourself as you identify what's reasonable for you, what you feel you can do to stretch yourself at some level without going too crazy and performing beyond your means, something that you still enjoy as you're working out. Let's talk about time also. Identify for yourself what's the most optimal time that I can be working out. I know for myself, I'm more of a morning person. I do better if I exercise in the morning, but I've worked with clients that are a better match to exercise later in the day. So identify for yourself what's the best routine, what's the best time frame that you can be engaging activity and doing something that's burning those activity calories and looking at the NEAT or the EAT component of what you want to integrate in your schedule.
Well, Mark, the idea of actual planning out exercise and activity is somewhat tedious, but we like to say is that if you fail to create your own plan, chances are you're going to fall into somebody else's plan, and they don't have much plan for your exercise. And so, in terms of working with our coaches, that would be a really good next step. If you're looking to, get some accountability, get some structure in place, talk to your OPTAVIA coach and have them help you to design a activity plan that would be right for you. You can use chapter 14 through chapter 16 of Dr. A's Habits of Health book for great ideas and resources. There's also some more explanations in the appendix. So you can look into the Habits of Health appendix and see all the different strategies in regards to resistance exercises or the non-exercise activities, the NEAT principles that Dr. Fleischer talked about. What we'd like to challenge everybody to do is to do something. Take action on something. All you can do is all you can do. So what can you do in this next 7 days, or what could you do in the next month of this particular month to get you to move forward towards a more active, a more strong life? And if you're not in a position to move forward right now, that's okay too. We're not here to push you, but we would like to invite you to explore what optimal health may look like for you. Thanks so much, Mark. I appreciate you joining us. We're now going to jump over to Kristen Grainer. Kristen has had a total life transformation in the last 12 months, and I can't wait for you to hear an experience of what she had in the last 12 months and where she was just a year ago to where she has gotten to today. Kristen, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much, David. I am extremely honored to be on this call. I would like to say I'm a recovering gymaholic. I had a really bad relationship with the gym. I would spin my wheels, so to speak, on a hamster wheel for so long. I would get in my car, take my kids to school, take it 20 minutes to get to the gym, work out for 2 hours, get dressed, ready, and then I'd start my day at noon. And then I'd probably run through Starbucks or whatever and, undo everything I just did. So one thing that I started doing and was advised by my coach, who is David Bush, was to change everything. And I remember going, no, that doesn't work. I'm supposed to be at the gym. That's where I lose weight, is at the gym. And he said, well, how's that working for you? And I said, yeah, okay. All right. I'll change everything. And so I started walking, and I took my dog on more walks than he's ever been on in his 4 years of life. And I felt energetic. I knew I was doing good for my body by just moving. And so it started this sort of spiral as the weight came off and as my joints were feeling better and as my feet were feeling better as I hit the floor. When I woke up in the morning and I didn't have any pain, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll jog a little today. Now you got to understand that I've done 8 half marathons. And I was all different sizes in 8 half marathons, okay? And so I started to look at different things I could do because I knew I didn't have to kill myself anymore. I could walk. I could go on hikes with my family. I could find on Pinterest all of those repetitions and use my own body weight. Because I wasn't going to the gym, I didn't have a bunch of things to use at my house. And so I started to look at exercise differently. And as the weight came off, I go, all right, well, I'm going to start running. I want to see what I can do with sort of this new physique that I'm creating here. And I have never had like a runner's high. I'm not sure what that is. I've always been searching for it. Maybe you guys can help me, but actually I think I finally found it. Well, when you unhitch 80 pounds, you're able to push yourself a little bit farther. And so I had no intention of signing up for a half marathon for number 9, but I did it because I wanted to challenge myself. And so as you continue on this journey, you know that you can still do the walks for a half hour. That is beneficial. You can get your kids out and you can throw catch and you can run on the soccer field with them and have a blast. It doesn't have to look like traditional exercise to be beneficial to you. Do you understand that? It doesn't have to be at the gym. that can that can just sort of mess with you a little bit. Okay. What I got from changing my view of exercise was time. I got so much time, and I get to use that time to be with my family and to take care of things and to just use my NEAT exercises throughout the day. I still have NEAT exercises and I love them. I enjoy them. So I would just say, if there's something you want to try, I have a client that decided to do tap dancing. Come on, dancing counts, right? I don't care how crazy you look, do it, all right? And so grab a buddy. If that's what your motivation is gonna be, if you have to call somebody and say, okay, I want you to call me so that you know that I'm outside hiking, call me, okay? But make it fun and drag your family along. I made all of my family play football after Thanksgiving dinner. They weren't happy about it to begin with, but then they had the best, count it, 2 hours of fun instead of sitting on the couch. So I'm just saying, make it fun. Make it fun.
That is so awesome, Kristen, and it's so fun to be able to hear you telling your story with so much enthusiasm and how you've continued to optimize your health. You didn't just lose weight with OPTAVIA, you lost the weight and you transitioned, and now you're optimizing your health, continuing to add in the simple healthy habits, one healthy habit at a time, and now you're in a position where you're challenging yourself to do even more rigorous exercise. And so, some of you are resonating with where Kristen's at because that's something that you would like to do. But maybe some of you are just in a position where you're intimidated of exercise, or you hate exercise. Can I get an amen on that? I hear so many people that really dislike exercise. So let's talk about how we can kind of put together a healthy motion makeover for each and every one of us. And let's use the stop, challenge, choose principle that Dr. Anderson talks about in chapter 19 and chapter 21 of his book, which is really all about helping to prioritize and to be more mindful. So the very first thing that we'd like for you to do, and if you have a sheet of paper, I would get out and write this down, is the very first thing I would do is that I would just ask each and every one of you to stop and reach out to your coach for support. Send them a text message, send them a private message, whatever their preferred method of communication is, send them a message and say, I need your help with movement, or I need your help with exercise. I was on the webinar tonight. I want to connect up with you and come up with a plan. It's a great time to just come up with a plan that works for you, and your OPTAVIA coach can help you with that. Even if it just means starting with the implementation of the 6 S's of the non-exercise activities and using the appendix of the Habits of Health book to help you to start tracking and measuring progress. You can burn that extra 100 to 200 calories to help you to accelerate your weight loss. Think about it. 200 calories times 7 is 1,400 calories extra burned at the end of the week without going to the gym, without running, just extra calories. That's almost, right? That's almost a half a pound of fat, an extra half a pound of fat every single week. How exciting would that be at the end of the month if you just found simple things that you can do in the 16 hours a day that you're awake? And then challenge yourself even beyond that. If you're at that point and if you're physically capable to do more rigorous exercise, there are benefits like Kristen talked about in terms of a runner's high. I never knew, when people said, nothing tastes as good as it feels to be healthy, I never knew what that meant because I had never been healthy in my adult life. And so that's why we do these webinars and share the opportunities with you so that you can experience what other people are seeing. There is benefits in advancing and optimizing your health and adding in cardiovascular and strength training exercises. If that means running 1,000 feet or running around the block, start there. Don't overwhelm yourself with a 10K or a 5K because that may hurt you and that may even cause even more pain to your life. But maybe take something that is a little challenging and embrace it, and embrace the opportunity to create optimal health and well-being in your life. We hope that you enjoyed this webinar today, and if we did a great job, we'd sure love for you to report this back and share this with your health coach and remind them and all of the people that you're connected to about what an amazing program that OPTAVIA is. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we appreciate everybody's participation tonight.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.